Hey everyone, my name is Vinalin, and in this video we're going to be talking about modern BERT. What are the improvements in this family of models compared to the original BERT model, and for what you can use it in your machine learning and AI engineering tasks. Let's get started. When the transformers architecture first came out, there were a lot of models that were both encoder and decoders. There were also models that were just encoders, such as the original BERT model. And then we saw a lot of models that are also just a decoder. Based on the BERT models and the many fine tunes provided on top of this model, we were able to get some pretty amazing classifiers, embedding models, and a lot of models that were used to be deployed to production environments. For example, entity extraction and other tasks that were very popular during that time. We also saw the rise of the both encoder and decoder models. T5, in my opinion, was the most important model when we got that during that time. And we also got a T5 version of the model that was also multilingual. So we got many of those models. One thing that you can see here on the left, where just the encoder models are living, is that during this time, we got no models, while the decoder revolution started with GPT-1, which was pretty much at the start of the transformer architecture introduction and deployment of those models in production. Then we got GPT-2. Those models were, I would say, pretty weak. XLNet, also pretty weak model. Then we got GPT-3, which was a vast improvement compared to GPT-2 with a lot more data and a lot more information about training and the inference process that OpenAI researchers were introducing to the research field. Not so much this is the case at the moment, unfortunately. The eruption or the aha moment of this decoder-only architecture was undoubtedly the introduction of ChatGPT. This is GPT 3.5, and during this time we also saw a lot of other models such as Instruct GPT from OpenAI, and again pretty much a lot more models that were decoder only, but none of them have been as important to the evolution of the LLMs such as the ChatGPT models. And after that we saw GPT-4, we saw BART from Google, which was, I would say, a pathetic example of a model. Then we also saw Quote from Anthropic, at least the initial versions. And from there, we've seen the evolution of those models and their implementation in the real world. The difference between the encoder and the decoder model, that the encoder is getting an input that is a text. This text is going to be then represented as a matrix or a list of vectors that are capturing the semantic meaning of the text. And this is done during the encoding step within this model. Also, these types of models are used for classification, retrieval in the retrieval augmented generation types, reranking, and for embeddings. So we are going to see some of those examples being used with the ModernBERT model. Then on the other hand, we have the decoder, and here the input is almost always token IDs. Then based on those token IDs, the model is generating other token IDs that are then being converted into text. That is, the unique representation of the tokens is then converted into this particular string that you're seeing right here. And the implementation here is much simpler. Those types of models are very easy to understand, and they are great at chatting or conversations, code generations, agentic use cases, tool calls. ModernBERT was introduced by a paper from Answer AI and Whiton AI and NVIDIA researchers, including the now legendary status researcher of Jeremy Howard. And you can see that during the December of 2024, this model was introduced. And I would say that this was the return of the encoders, since we've seen that pretty much anything up to that point was a extension over BERT, and there was a serious gap into the improvements of the encoder models. What we got here was the encoders that were BERT, TrueBERT, DeBERT, and other types of models that are very interesting for text classifications, entity recognition or extraction, and rank chunking, embedding, etc. So these types of models are still going to give us a high amount of use cases. And what were the difference into modern BERT? Now we have replaced the positional encodings or absolute positional encodings with row release, and those types of embeddings are able to capture a much wider context windows. There were changes within the normalization style and the activation functions between the layers. And now the model width and depth were carefully chosen or grid searched basically based on the hardware that those types of models are going to be run and trained on. One of the big changes that the ModernBERT have introduced into the architecture of the model is the alternating attention, and this was what made the 8K context window possible for this model. And in this case, we have two types of layers. For the attention, we have global attention that was only applied on every third row. Other than that, on the other rows, we have attending to only local 128 tokens. So this was much more compute efficient and a bit more local in terms of optimization. And this was essentially a linear operation, as you can see, while the original attention implementation is quadratic in time. So from here, you can understand that this is getting a massive performance improvement. Then for the training, the authors have used over 2 trillion training tokens, which is a massive improvement compared to the 3.3 billion tokens that were used into the original model. Unfortunately, within this dataset, there were mostly text that is based on English, and the vast improvement in size is also coming from the fact that there is a lot of code and mathematical equations in terms of what text. The tricks that I have used are to first remove the next sentence prediction objective, which was proposed into the original BERT model. Then we have an increase of the masked tokens for the masked language modeling task. This is being done from 15% within the original BERT model to 30%. And we have 3 training phases. By the way, this is the information gotten from this website, and pretty much all of the images that I'm showing you throughout this presentation are taken from there. So for the training, we got 3 phases. The first one is using roughly 1.7 trillion tokens, so the vast majority of the tokens. And within this phase, there are only training on 1024 sequence length or context window. And then this is extended within the second phase on the next 250 billion tokens. And then we have some sampling that is done with the final 50 billion tokens. And one very interesting thing that they have introduced within their blog post is that the larger model, which we have 2 different versions of the modern BERT model, just like we did in the original BERT model, were introduced and initialized using the weights of the trained small model. So this is pretty cool, and there is also a bit more research within that area, and they are using unpadding and sequence padding in order to reduce the amount of path tokens within the training data. And here they have a nice representation of that. If you have a lot of sequences that are of no equal length, such as these ones, you are going to need to do some hacking around this and essentially fill out this area right here with something. And in the general case, you are going to be using a padding token, which is a general token that is going to essentially fill this empty space, so you can have batches that are of equal length and size. And what they did was to essentially remove this constraint and do sequence packing. That is, within the batches, they have essentially appended each of the individual sequences. This is the representation of ModernBERT Warch, and the ModernBERT base are very fast, at least in terms of milliseconds per token. So you're getting this much more performance boost compared to the original model. Also, we have a lot of benchmarks provided within the original blog post, and you can go through this. Of course, ModernBERT, at least at the time of the release of this model, was pretty much the best model, especially considering the size and the inference speed. So how do you use this model into the transformers library? It is pretty easy. It is just a replacement for the original BERT model. Instead of the original BERT model, but you are essentially giving it the answer.ai ModernBERT model. And from there, you're going to be able to create a pipeline within the transformers library and use it, for example, for token and mask language modeling tasks. Also, it is very easy to fine-tune this type of model as it is for the original BERT. You are essentially going to be using the auto model for sequence classification, for example, for a classification task, if you are going to be using that. And also there is a Mosaic ML composer that is available for the answer.ai open source framework for fine-tuning and pre-training, so you can use that as well in order to create a BERT checkpoint from scratch if you want to. The original model, that is the original BERT model, has been only or primarily trained on English, so there is a multilingual extension and it is trained on a lot more languages, over 1800. So this was trained on 3 trillion tokens. Of course, this is much more text that is available in different languages. It retains the original context window and it is switching the tokenizer to the Gemma 2 multilingual tokenizer instead of training or creating their own. The authors of this MMBERT extension model has chosen the Gemma 2 multilingual tokenizer in order to create a tokenizer that is able to handle multiple languages. What they did during the training of this particular model, again, we have 3 different phases. First, they started with 60 of the more common languages here with 2.3 trillion tokens, as you can see, and then they have added additional languages with 600 billion tokens, and then the final time they also added 100 billion tokens on top of that. But this time around, they have introduced a reversal or inversion of the masking. They started with a large percentage of masking, in this case 30%, and they went as low as 5%. So you can see that this particular training phase was very well curated and executed. These are the pre-training, the mid-training, and the decay phase. And you can see that, for example, Russian, Spanish, French, etc. are being less and less represented during the additional training phase, while other languages are being more and more represented. So you can guess that this is the case because we don't have much more data for these, let's say, not so popular languages. So what are the key takeaways from ModernBERT and how you can use it? Well, this is a better model. It is very fast compared to the original version. It has 16 times more tokens into the context window, up to 8K. But note that the primarily part of the training was done only 1K in the context window. There is much more code within the training. There is also a multilingual extension, and they exist a lot of embeddings and reranker models, which I'm going to show you within the notebook. There are a lot of interesting resources, and here are some of them. Especially, I'm going to show you the embeddings by Alibaba Qwen team that is built on top of the ModernBERT model. If you want to become a better AI engineer and learn how to use and fine-tune models such as ModernBERT, go and subscribe to MXpert Pro. There, you're going to find a complete AI engineering academy that starts from the basics of Python, NumPy, and classical machine learning. Then it goes into a complete local setup for your AI and machine learning engineering needs. And then it goes into RACs, CACs, AI agents, how to fine-tune models, and how to deploy your complete AI applications to production. So if you want to become a better AI engineer, go and subscribe to MXpert Pro. Thank you. I'm in my local cursor instance, and this was executed on a Google Cloud notebook with a T4 GPU. Of course, you can use just a CPU in order to run this type of models that I'm going to show you. Since they are pretty small, they run quite efficiently on the CPU as well. And first, I'm going to show you how you can load the ModernBERT model itself. Here I am showing you the pipeline that is coming from the Transformers library along with the path for the model, and I'm loading this into a binary float 16 type. I'm also putting it in onto the GPU, and here I just wanted to get a closer look on the model configuration just to make sure that we got really the model that has 8K into the context window itself. You can see here that we have the max position embeddings, and this is the 8K context window that we're getting from this particular model. So the first task that I have run was the masking, and this is the mask special token that we have included within the tokenizer when this model was being trained. And based on that, you're going to be able to force the model to try and replace this with the most appropriate word. And here the input text was the AI engineer deployed the model to, and then the model suggested first work, production, Azure, AWS, Facebook, etc. And this was done into 650 milliseconds. This model is quite fast and it is quite small as well. So nice job here. And then I have downloaded the ModernBERT base within the embedding model provided by the Alibaba or Qwen team. And here I have gotten the blog post from the post that is introducing the ModernBERT. This is the blog post itself. It contains a lot of information about the training along with the images that I have shown you throughout the presentations, along with the tricks, etc. And all this information I'm going to be giving it for the embedding model. I'm going to load the markdown for the blog post here, and I'm going to be splitting or chunking using the hashtag symbol here, and this is the result for the blog post. We have this very small chunk there, then we have this much larger one. Those are split with horizontal lines, as you can see here. Again, another smaller chunk, a larger one, and all those documents I'm going to be embedding using the ModernBERT embedder, and I'm going to be also embedding our query, which took roughly 1 second to complete. We have 23 documents, so it is again quite fast. And then these are the scores along with the predicted parts. And at the first place, we have a snippet of global and local attention. One of ModernBERT's most impactful feature is alternating attention. So this is exactly what we are looking for, since again, the query was how does alternating attention work? So at least in this example, this embedding model have given us a very nice response with a score that is both high enough and separate enough from the rest of the results. So good job. And you can try and use those types of embedding models on your own or fine-tune the model even further. So this is it for this video. We've seen the ModernBERT and how it was trained, what data it was used, and what were the tricks that make it work into a real-world model. Also, we've seen that the model is comparatively much better compared to the previous encoder-only models. And in this world where LLMs are pretty much the dominant models, it is refreshing to see pushes to other types of models as well. So thank you to everyone that was involved into developing this particular ModernBERT version of the model. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to make a video on how to fine-tune ModernBERT on a specific downstream task, please let me know down into the comments below. And if you want to become a better AI engineer, go and subscribe to MXpert Pro. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.